I didn't really know what to do with my life. So I prayed, Father, what should I do? Now, while watching a Bible study on Genesis chapter 1 through chapter 6, I was reminded that man needs to work. Abraham and Noah had faith, but Abraham actually moved. Noah actually built the boat. Later that night, I witnessed a debate between Christians. I saw that people are generally stuck on their convictions, especially on general topics with heated emotion. The best way to handle these conversations, I think, will be based on Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stirs up anger. At a special symposium for work, I thought it was kind of pointless and boring, considering that you can't really force a lot of information and science on why you should do X or why you shouldn't do X on someone who never really thought about it, no matter how simple you or I as a professional think it is. Now, after the symposium, I had some Panda Express. But later that evening, before going to bed, I looked into the mirror and asked myself, why did I even eat that? Like, after going through several different reasons, I thought this was the final straw for I should go on a fast. I didn't know how long to go for it at that time period, but I knew I should go on a fast. Now, while in bed from waking up early, doom scrolling, I came across a short video about a photo of Esther. I decided to look at the comments for once after that whole hour period. One of the top comments mentioned how that Esther fasted for about 3 days. So I decided that it would be my goal for that fast, 3 days. At work, when I came in, I listened to the first song, Like a Prayer, from a Deadpool movie that came out, which became the song of the week for me. It kind of made me reflect on the accomplishments that I had in my life, also at work. One of the clients who was at the symposium, who it was designed for, started to complain to me, saying that the things they didn't like, too much information, not enough practical application for the rest of the audience members. Later that morning, my first test for that fast came from my boss's boss. Had took the staff or served the staff to Waffle House and offered to pay. Everyone, including the servers, know that I like Waffle House. I had to tell them that I wasn't eating today. It was kind of funny because my first day of the fast, he would say, I say God, you can say coincidence, but I think it was like God. Now that evening, the men's Bible study was on Psalm chapter 13. Basically, David vents to God about his troubles, asking how long he would have to endure, requesting God's presence. And in the end, he acknowledges what God had done for him. Now, after that Bible study, there was another one for young adults, which started about an hour later after that time period. I was debating where to go or stay because, I live 2 minutes away from the church at the time. But I had nothing planned that night, so it wasn't really a rush. But I said, I'll pray to God. I said, you know what, God, should I stay or should I leave? And then all of a sudden, thoughts ran into my head. I started to question, why do I find it easier talking to a certain unbelievers, but not fellow believers, though? And the answer kind of really dawned on me was that consistency. I see certain people almost every day, and which makes it easier to talk to them. But for some believers, I didn't really see them that often. Now, during the study, some discussion was kind of focused on Philippians chapter 4, verses 10, asking what the difference is between ambition and being satisfied, and how the Apostle Paul actually worked. He wasn't just a only New Testament writer. His job wasn't just writing the whole New Testament or writing part of the New Testament, his letters. But at home, I decided to record the events in this notebook because I'm okay, I started to see little patterns here. I don't want to forget any of this stuff. And there's a lot more stuff I'm kind of omitting because it's a 15-page document. I'm trying to condense it into 1,000 words and around that time period. So Thursday was really tame. The main thing was that a missed opportunity happened where I could explain why I was writing, because I kind of mentioned when I was writing this. Something that which I think it could help someone, but I didn't really do it. It's just after that time, I kind of realized I have to be a little more urgent with the things I do. So on Friday after work, I decided to get some groceries, which was another missed opportunity came when I drove past someone who might have needed food. Well, phrase that he did need food. He was homeless. So yeah, it was kind of obvious. In my head, the time period, I was kind of thinking they don't need these chocolate covered pretzels. Doesn't mean I can go back to the store and get some, but that's what I was thinking about in my head. But while preparing the food when I got home, I listened to another video in the background, not knowing what to expect. It basically talked about, speaking up and acting when the moment is there. It brought a story when these guys saw another man drowning and they didn't do anything about that, and how people are claiming or are not berating these young guys for not saving this dude. It's not just about preaching the gospel, but which is important. Don't get me wrong, but about doing good. So, later after that, I kind of pray, God, forgive me if you want me to speak up more. Give me the strength to do so, to act. I'm scared. I don't like speaking up like that, even though it's part of my job. But I don't always like to do that stuff, especially online. But I know, hey, when we do it, I'll do it and stuff. But that night, someone had streamed a discussion title, "Prove Me Wrong About Whether Christians Should Observe the Law." And trust me, I don't like calling in if I just explained, but I did. And I think it was a very productive conversation because it reminded me of the lessons from the week. How to talk to people or you disagree with stuff of that nature. Noah building the boat, he needs to actually build the boat. The need to speak when you have the opportunity. That doesn't mean I can just sit back and wait for everything to fall in place. But I have to kind of step forward, especially when the opportunity arises. And I'm still learning this, not to make mistakes, not to mistake your fear with caution, and to push past that when it keeps me silent. But, doing my best means, working now, in the present without stressing about what's really beyond my reach. And, I realize I'm in America. I have a voice and the freedom to speak up. The fast ended that Friday night. It was like a perfect time to close the fast, 3 days because technically I started at the end of that Wednesday night. It's funny because I didn't really feel like I needed to eat, but I felt I could have kept going on. But, I still wanted the popcorn, little popcorn chips they have. Because my body was like, it felt weird. Like you kind of adjust less to it, but I wanted popcorn chips at the time. But, I kind of realized that, I need to keep Christ in my foundation or really kind of emphasize that. It's not just, be able to trust, about just trusting him, but, following with action and putting my faith into movement. So kind of fast forward to church Sunday. I kind of went to 2 churches at the time period. The message overlapped with some struggles I've been having, kind of discuss the difference between the local congregation and the church at the universal body of Christ. The pastor kind of emphasized that while it's okay to interact with non-believers, you should still have a foundational connection with fellow believers. And it wasn't just because God answered my prayers. It felt more like he was continuing this conversation and reminded me not to forget. It kind of felt like God was addressing the situation I had at the time period, which I kind of do have now, or a little bit here and now, which is guess why I'm posting this video now. But if you don't believe in divine intervention, well, this is as close as a coincidence as I've ever seen, though. So later, I watched another video that I didn't expect too much from, but it hit me. The speaker had talked about Sukkot, basically one of the holidays. The speaker talked about Sukkot, connected to the whole fleeting nature of life, both in the context of the Exodus and our own lives. Joy, he said, is kind of like a choice, especially given how temporarily life is. He referenced how Ecclesiastes and shared his story about building a following on MySpace, only to watch, fade as the platform died out. It hit home because, what is the point of being, remembered in this life? Or more specifically, who's going to remember and what I do or accomplish here? Now, I am kind of glad I wrote these things down because it kind of helped me see the connections that I wouldn't have noticed in the moment. Now, as I kind of look back at those weeks and even reading back the longer document, what actually happened, all that stuff that actually happened, I kind of realized the importance of the discipline, not just in the writing I had, but in my faith and daily life. The journal was meant to be like a simple record, but it became a reminder about how God constantly answers prayers and provides opportunities and is always there, even though the connections are always there in a sense. Even when you always don't recognize them at first. From the time I kind of felt disconnected or uncertain to the moments where I kind of felt called to speak up, each experience kind of shaped up my perspective, which it was praying for guidance, rescuing missed opportunities, or even seeing how words impacted the people around me. I did learn, of course, how and be reminded that prayer isn't just about asking; it's about being prepared to act when the answer comes. And again, I kind of debated about sharing the video line, thinking it might be something that people want to hear, need to hear. As more I had thought about it, there was a part of me that want to have this hidden desire to keep it hidden. And part of me wanted to, at the time when I first wrote this, I'm gonna post reviews and stuff, but that is not how my channel is going or how all the videos going. I just posted because someone needed to hear it, they might need to hear it. But in the grand scheme of things, the follow count doesn't really matter. What matters is that the message or what my experience, my testimony in a sense reaches the people, not necessarily how many people watch or remember who or from the channel. Another thing I said is that prayer isn't just about asking; it's kind of preparing to act when the answer comes. And even if I don't like it, or even if no one else notices, that's discipline. That's the voice I want, or still am trying to follow, even now.